Welcome to Dad Bod's Crab Cakes and Sports, where husky middle aged men share insight on the latest Baltimore sports news. From the bank to the yard and beyond, we're breaking down the Ravens, Orioles, Terps, and more. Baltimore's best sports podcast starts now.
Music licensing reimagined.
Holy mackerel, all that music just knocked everyone off their chair. Well done, John. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, welcome to Dad Bod's Crab Cakes and Sports with Jason, John, and Mike. Fellas, how are you doing this evening?
Great.
Good.
You guys are great. Let me tell you.
Is that great sports radio? Just to say good? Is that good?
And I love the one-word answers. So,
Hey,
fine. How was your day? Good.
It's like talking to your kids at night. Yeah, oh my gosh.
What did you do at school? Nothing. How was practice? Okay. All right. Well, now what am I going to do with the rest of the 45 minutes I have left? Good God.
I think we're all excited tonight, though. I think we're all very happy, and I don't know if we're on the right track, but we're certainly not on the wrong track any longer.
I'm sorry.
But we're not a train, so we're not on tracks. But we do play. The O's do play at an old train yard, so sort of.
You got to let them come to you naturally, John. You've really forced that one. That's okay, though. We'll get it.
Terrible. Terry Boo. Really bad. All right. So
I believe that was a joke from the old Mighty Ducks movies. Something about a train and tracks or something.
Nope. Not sure.
I don't think anybody's tracking, John. I don't think anyone is with you.
Well, after this exchange, I don't think anyone's listening either, so that's good. So we got that going for us. All right. Well, so what do you
fellas, I had excitement at school today. I tell you about that.
Yeah,
I'd love to learn about that.
So, I was walking in. I park, I don't know if I would call it illegally, but I park in a creative space near the gym in the parking lot. And I walk into the gym doors on the side lot, and I turn around and look, and there's a little critter outside. And he looks curious, but he is a critter that probably shouldn't be out during the daytime. So I said, okay, maybe he'll just, walk away. And I continued to work with my student teacher, and I look out the window a little bit later, and there he is still. He's there. He's just exploring the grounds of the school. He's a little raccoon. But I'm like, okay, not a big deal, I guess. Well, second period comes around, and he wandered around like the whole campus, and he's like trying to get in the doors all around the school building. And apparently the school resource officer ran around and started chasing him. And then he was telling us on the walkie, like where his whereabouts was. So it was kind of exciting at school today. And then I asked, is it okay for PE classes to be outside? And he was like, no, probably not a good idea, just because he's a strange specimen of a raccoon. The rabies might be out and about. So we got stranded inside today for phys ed class, even though it was like 78 degrees here and beautiful in Baltimore because of the pesky raccoon.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah. Trash pandas loose in Bel Air High School. Big fan.
Crazy.
Man.
Wow. Don't they usually try to trap those things as soon as they see them? They call the DNR or something, because
they call it animal control, John. And then animal control came, and then they couldn't find it, and they were like, "Oh well, if he comes back, let us know." We're like, "Okay, should we go back outside?" Okay.
A realtor friend of mine in Cleveland had walked into a bank-owned house, and they had one of those ladders, that goes up to the attic, in the middle of a hallway. And as she opens the front door, this raccoon comes down. And evidently, I don't know if it's a true story or not, but she said she pulled out her concealed carry and shot the raccoon as it ran down the steps and ran at her. So that's whether a true story or not. It's an exciting story, and I'll believe it's true until I hear otherwise.
Oh, wow. That is exciting. Man, I'll tell you, though, I feel, though, there should be a minor league baseball team called the Trash Pandas. You know what I mean?
Maybe Pablo Sandoval will start one.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, it's all these alternate minor league team names. Have you seen those that are floating around just for like a series or things like
Yeah,
that?
I heard.
I could see that happening.
Didn't the what is it? It used to be Bowie Chesapeake. Didn't they have like a questionable like
Oh
hat?
yeah.
Something?
It was supposed to be an oyster, but it looked
Oh,
a little like a body part that
no.
not everyone has.
Oh,
Yes.
fabulous.
It's not
About
as bad.
50% of the population has it.
Well, it's not as bad as those Rangers hats that New Era messed up with. You guys saw? I sent you guys those ones, right? Yeah, the Spanish word for those. But exciting times, guys, with raccoons and weird team names. And we got an O's win tonight. We took the series from the Yankees. We should all be excited. Bautista has 2 saves in 3 games. I think we're on a roll. No, I don't.
know, man.
I
Why
don't.
not? Why don't you think they're on a roll, John?
Because even a broken clock is right twice a day.
So
I'm kind of hoping, though, that benches clearing altercation
hold on.
might
No. You aren't
someone's
getting me.
butt.
You're not getting off that easy. Stop speaking for a second. Hold on. So if you have a series and there's 3 games, to win said series, you have to win 2 games. So if they're trying to take a positive step forward and they've won 2 out of 3, which is said the series, how is that
66% of the series.
right? Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that.
You got it.
How is that not moving in the right direction, John?
Well, after last night's game, I just I didn't know what to think. I mean, we get Gibson out there for the first time, and he just gives up all those home runs, and the bats are just dead. It's like it would have been like this all year. We've had 1 or 2 good games, and then we're just dead. So I think it's a little bit in the right direction. Like I'm not going to be pessimistic about the whole thing, but I think they got to do this a couple more times for me to actually be very excited about this team.
Well,
Like-
yeah, I don't think it's about being excited. I think it's about them again moving in the right direction and winning 2 out of 3 against the team that's first in your division. Like, so what? Like, we won 2 games by a combined total of 2 runs, right? They won 1 by what, 12, 13 runs, whatever it was. It doesn't matter. A win, it's just a loss. So that loss to Cincinnati, 20 some runs, it's still just a loss. At the end of the year, if this team is somehow rebounded and fighting for a playoff spot, if that is the case, no one's going to remember what your losses were. They're just going to remember it's a loss or a win. Like, who cares? Like, if they went out, would you have been happier, John, if they went out and won a game scoring 20 runs but lost the series? Because I sure as hell wouldn't.
No, I don't think so. I just still think I'm not seeing enough spark and enough fire from them. Maybe, like I said, maybe that Kerstad thing will ignite something in them, but they still are messing up easy plays. They're not doing the things that are needed to be done that to win baseball games. And I think it's like George Knox says in Angels in the Outfield, we got to go back to fundamentals. Fundamentals in the middle of the season. Absolutely, Orioles. We need to go back to fundamentals, and we need to be looking at those sorts of things. We hit a couple long balls, and again, that's how we're going to have to win baseball games. But we also have to be able to move runners around, run the bases, make the plays in the field. I mean, tonight we made some good plays. Lariano had 2 diving catches, I think, and we looked a little bit better, but still, we're still not making all the easy plays that major league players should be making. Mike, I see you shaking your head. What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, I wrote a little ditty. I'm kind of scared to bring the listeners into my brain for 30 seconds of their lives. Somewhere between Shakespeare and Eminem is where I'm going with this bad boy. So I'm going to call this segment the mic drop because that's my name. And I'm going to go on a little rant here, but it's got a little poetry slam kind of style to it. You know how Eminem is a rapper? I'm more like, if we're talking candy, I'm more like Chunky. That's my rapper name, something like that. But anyway, I'm gonna hit you up with this thing I made. So they
I'm
call
not
it hide and
afraid.
seek.
I'm
Oh,
not
you should be
afraid.
afraid. I think all the listeners should be afraid.
But
All right, it's
Eminem,
called hide.
I'm not afraid,
Dude,
right? That's his.
I'm
Yeah.
questionably
take a stand.
concerned, slightly concerned. Slightly.
All right, this boy's called hide and seek, and hide, like HYDE, right? Why them O's reek, tweaked obliques, poor technique, past their peak. Meek swings linger, point the finger at a weak staff of bleak old riffraff sold by freaking Elias. All pompous and pious, thinks we're unique. You see, we don't need OBP or starters under 33 or to consistently bat 280. That math matches the base path disaster, stranding a man on 3 regularly. Let's disguise the order with borderline number 5 hitters, jittery littering the yard with feeble hacks. Forget using tact with a stack of Ruby's greenbacks to add a veteran bat to let the pack relax. Who knows my O's woes better than Adley? Badly roasted. Thought he was the poster child for a while, but sadly in denial, thinking finally that all-star style had settled behind the plate. But wait, another 0 for 8. Can't smother bounce pitches, frustrated state, and no debate a toxic trait. His attempt is futile with his oodle of noodle arm. It ain't worth its weight as the next spry guy slides in safe at second base. Old Arms Farm of Starters. Pasture Morton's prime cut, and Cowser's out to pasture for at least a month as we hunt cans of corn strewn across the floor by Tyler's right field dumpster fire and rely on the satire that is Silent J's lost and crossed up wires. So why is it Hyde dividing the lineup by manual dexterity? Righty hits, lefty splits, so it's plain to see that you or I could be hitters 1, 2, or 3. God with all his might knows, and I suppose if you diagnose this bro's pros, there's little left, but it sure as hell ain't right. Or is it Elias? Why couldn't he put aside his pride and penny-pinching bias to bias the guys to make the lineup more pliable and realize the undeniable upside and stop this deplorable landslide? Peace.
Wow.
Oh man, I don't know whether to do the snapping fingers thing, a standing ovation, or just like not like close out your box so that you're done for the evening. I don't know what to do.
There is the mute. There is the mute button there. There is the mute button there for Mike. But I thought that was pretty good, Mike, for your first attempt.
The question
Hey,
is, do you feel better? Do you feel better, Mike?
I feel better. That's the biggest thing. I feel better. I'm not. I don't know that I'm an angry rapper. I don't know what my genre is yet. I don't know. If I'm the poet. I'm not sure where I belong.
Did you run this past your wife first, or another person to see what their feedback was on this?
Nah, I'm just spitting it.
That's awesome.
Can only go downhill from here. It's great.
And I'm going to post that for everybody on our Facebook page, just in case you missed something.
Oh boy!
Oh
Lucky
my
you
goodness.
all. Well done.
But see, Mike, if you're gonna do that though, you got to have like a flat brim hat and a little bit off to the side or something. No, not that even. It's got to be like flat. Yeah, like what the hats that I like the old Dontrell Willis or the Fernando Rodney
Willie Dante, Jason,
with the flat
Willie
brim. You know.
Fabulous. Listen. All right, that's fabulous. Well done, Mike. I think you summed up probably about 85% of Birdland's frustrations. Well done. Goodness gracious. Back at I did want to say one more thing about attacking John here for a minute. John, I wasn't I was kind of making a point. It wasn't you necessarily, but it's what you were saying. And the reason I kept making that point was that's exactly what all the fans are saying. They're saying these things about the team, and but then they win 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. Okay, now what? Well, now we're still not satisfied here because it's not all fixed just like this. You got into this trouble in multiple games in multiple parts of the season. It's not going to change overnight. So it's got to start somewhere. So maybe it's now. And no, I don't think the Kjerstad dust up is going to change things. I do think that it shows that there are signs of life. If anyone was concerned, I mean, they do care. If anyone was concerned about that, and you know what, they are having a really crappy month, and May starts tomorrow. They're off tomorrow, but come Friday, maybe they start turning things around, and this was a kind of jump off point.
Well, Mountcastle seemed to have a pretty good day today. I think it was 0 for 18 before that home run. But you could see him getting a little more life in his in his face, so just his facial expressions, in the dugout and things. But I think these injury things just will come back around to, once we get guys back, once we get Cowser back. I think the three of us agree that missing Cowser is probably the largest person that we're missing, because Urias looked okay tonight at third, and Westberg is
I mean, he's
missed,
not
but he's
that
not missed the same
large.
way.
He's kind of medium sized, but he's important to the Orioles.
They say he's kind of got a dad bod thing going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I don't disagree with you, Jason. I wrote that rant obviously after the game last night, but I think it's a long season. Baseball is the longest season around, right? 162 games, and a lot can happen in the course of a season. And all the teams are going to get have some ups and downs. You might have. I bet every team has at least 1 month that's below 500. I would say most every team, right? So ours was pretty awful. So maybe if we can show signs, maybe over the next month or two of going 500, maybe we get some pitching back, we get Cowser back, and then we can start in our winning ways. Maybe we split series. Maybe we can win 2 or 3, lose 2 or 3, kind of hang and tread water until we're kind of more healthy and a better version of the Orioles. I think that's probably best case scenario. I think that's kind of what you were describing, Jason.
Yeah, but the issues being, and yes, Colton Cowser is a huge part of what's going on here, because obviously you have guys that are playing that wouldn't normally, like Laureano. I mean, he's supposed to be the guy that just plays against lefties, and that was kind of what we wanted. Mateo just play against lefties, blah blah blah. But it's not going to fix the pitching issue. And to me, there's nobody like Eflin, I guess, when he comes back would help, depending on how hurt he is. But with Hyde in his press conferences, he made it seem like what did he say? We're hoping for weeks, not months. I don't know. Like that just makes me worry a little bit. But one other thing I wanted to mention here that I've been thinking of this since it happened. Mike and I are in a group chat with one of our listeners, and something sunk into me that yesterday that I can't get past. And it's making me rethink a lot of things with the organization and the managers and the manager himself. Since June 1st, this listener pointed out that the Orioles are 66 and 69, June 1st of last year. Since July 1st of last year, they are 49 and 57. I don't know what happened. And it's at this point, it's like you ended the season on a flat note from June and July. You had a couple little peaks here and there, but mainly you flattened out. You had such a good start to last year that it got you into the playoffs. And then we saw what happened in the playoffs. Nothing. So how much, Mike, has that carried over to this year? How much is on the manager? Or how much is on the fact that these guys, I have 2 arguments, 2 questions, in addition to the one I gave, so 3 total. The one, are the players that they have that they are not willing to trade away, are they superstar worthy? Are they superstars in the making? Are they good baseball players? Or did they totally miss on these guys? And this is where we're at.
No, so my thought behind the whole thing is, and Elias talked about this, maybe a year and a half ago when he was talking about when we were taking off, right? We're supposed to take off now. It's an upward trajectory. Everything here is about winning at the major league level. And that's what we were told as this core group of young players started to come into their own, right? And I think there's an energy that goes along with the novelty of that, right? There's an energy that comes along with a bunch of young guys playing together at the major league level for the first time and kind of, hey, what can we do? What are we capable of? How far can we take this thing? And that's exciting in the moment, and it can last for a while, and that energy can be sustained for quite a bit of time. But at some point, you need to inject some life, because what happened is, I think, Jason, you hit the nail on the head. We have a bunch of really good players. I don't think we have anybody that's a great player necessarily. I think Gunnar is the closest thing we have to a great player, probably. And the rest of those guys are major league caliber players, but we didn't add to it. We didn't add We didn't add statistics by going out and signing anybody, and we didn't add energy by going out and signing a big name bat or a big name arm. And that's what helps you kind of sustain that energy, is to go out and continue to build upon what you had already started. And there has been no continuous building. It has flatlined. We have, if anything, regressed from the middle of last summer. And what you're seeing is a lack of excitement and energy. I feel that. And then I also see, obviously, the lack of production. And it's only, compounded by the fact that we've had so many injuries. And I think it's just kind of snowballed downward.
Yeah, and like to me, I think that, and again, I don't know if this is on the manager or if it's a combination of the manager and front office coming up with lineup decisions and who's who's playing how many games and whatnot. But like the fact that some of these guys have not been able to develop because of lack of continuity in the lineup and being in there every day, and if they're not careful, they might stunt Holiday or Heston or somebody like that. Like, let these guys play. Like, part of me was surprised. I mean, I wasn't overall surprised because it's not an Oriole move, but I was surprised that Mayo didn't get a call up because, and I know it's like maybe they hope that Westberg's going to be down just for a short period of time and then he'll be up again. But so send someone else down. So when Mateo comes up, when Mayo comes up, if he's on fire, then get rid of Mateo. Okay, right. Or somebody else, like play him. Like
I'll get the bubble wrap, you get the box, and let's send him out of town.
Right. Like, I mean, I'm just picking Mateo. Like, I don't know, like whoever you want to. It doesn't matter. Like, send Carlson back down. Okay. And bring up Mayo and let him play for those 10 days that Westberg's down. But instead, we didn't do that. Now, granted, Urias is playing very well right now. He's not the issue. But it's just, as an organization, John, I feel like they could be screwing around with these guys. I said it a couple weeks ago. The Nationals said to James Wood, they said, you're going to, it's a James, whatever it is, you're going to play every single day, lefties, righties, bilingual, Chinese, Japanese, it doesn't matter. You're playing. And that's because you're going to be our guy. And to give a young man that confidence like that speaks volumes. And we're not doing that.
Yeah, we're not. But I think the thing, I saw this somewhere, that the thing the Orioles are running into is, I don't know the rules. You guys might know, but there's only a certain number of times that you can be called up and sent back down and things before you have to go through waivers. And I'm just throwing this there. I have no idea if any of these guys like Mayo are close to the amount of major league time that they have to or anything. But there was somebody who they were talking about sending down that they couldn't. But I think, though, that, they got to get their reps in at the major league level, because your difference is everybody I talk to, my guys I know who played in the big leagues and things, it's so much different than AAA. There's no comparison to it. And we're not going to know, again, like what we have until these guys have been given a full shot. 3 games and then sitting for 2 games, sitting for 3 isn't giving somebody a full shot and letting them get the full experience and see what they can do. I think the last, and you guys, I don't know where you guys sit on this, but the last great player to come out of our farm system was Manny Machado, and look what we got for him. I mean, I was just checking this out. We got 5 prospects. We got Yasniel Diaz, who I don't know, Dean Kramer, Rylan Bannon, Bravich Valera, and Zach Pop. Like, that's my worry too. Then we trade a guy like, just throwing names out there. We trade a guy like a Jackson Holiday. Who are we gonna get, and what are they gonna do for our club right this second?
Okay, well, that's like, John, that's like comparing apples and oranges, because that was the old regime. Like, it wouldn't be fair to say that you're not going to get anything if you decided to trade away one of these guys. I do, but I want to give Mike a chance to speak as well here. But if they did, if this is it, if this is how the season's going, and I said this a couple weeks ago too, if this is how the season's going, and they do have to start selling pieces off. They're not selling off Jackson Holiday, and like they're keeping everyone, okay, except for Cedric Mullins potentially if they're not going to sign him back. Ryan O'Hearn. Okay, John, if you pick that drink up again with the ice on your microphone,
my
I'm going to come through this computer.
gosh. It's like he's playing those Moroccos. Like, what is
What is
going on,
wrong with
man?
you? Where's
I had
that
to
mute
fit.
button, Mike? Good God. As I was saying,
Yeah, maybe a bullpen arm. Like, I think you could see those guys maybe be
all of
traded
them.
away. Yeah.
Like Soto, and even though I actually like Soto, I really do, and Dominguez and Mountcastle potentially, guys like that that could potentially bring stuff back, but you're not getting rid of your nucleus. And to me, it would just be a reset. It would be like, okay, look, it's not working. We're resetting. We're coming back next year. We expect to win 90 games. And I mean, it's happened. That Cleveland did it a couple years ago, and then they ended up getting the number one pick in the draft last year, and they ended up going to the ALCS or whatever it was. So it's, to me, Mike, I'm not ready to throw in the towel just yet, but I mean, those are the scenarios that I see at least.
No, I don't disagree, Jason. I think they kind of let it play out here for the first few months of the season. I mean, you're not going to trade guys off this early anyway. No major league team's doing that at this point. So really, it's a conversation for down the road. Hopefully, we never get there. If we do, obviously, I don't think they're trading from their core of young players. They're not trading Westberg. They're not trading Kowser. They're not trading Rutschman. They're not trading Gunnar. If there was one, and that's my question for you guys, if there was one of the core players that you would trade, which one would it be? My personal opinion is Rutschman would be the guy, just because he's older and because Basayo is on deck. But what's your thoughts?
That makes me very nervous because there is some leadership there, and if we come on here each week and we talk about leadership, I mean, the city loves him, the organization loves him. I get it. I just don't. There's no need to. Like, it's okay to have like too many players that are good on a major league roster. I would take it right now. But and with Basayo being hurt again, and he was hurt a little last year, like at what point does it become an injury concern? Like, is this going to happen all the time? So I wouldn't do that. I'm thinking, I don't know if he's part of your core. I'm not saying I would do it, but I could see Kjerstad. They could say but not right now, John. I mean, they don't have enough guys to ship him off.
Yeah, I don't think you can ship Adley off because he has a relationship with all of those pitchers, and he has you've seen him develop as a catcher, as an actual like game leader on the field since he got called up. I could see a guy like Kjerstad, or if they have faith in Mayo, do you talk to people about Westberg? I don't know, because like you have Urias right there who can fill that hole if you would trade a guy like Westberg. But I don't see anybody outside of maybe an outfielder or Mayo who's not even up at the big leagues. Everybody else, they're going to say, yeah, we're working with them and he's part of our rebuild, blah, blah, blah. But I do think, though, like we talked about last time, they just need a solid veteran leader, like to bring a Trey Mancini back on a deal or something like that.
I think we just need to relish the win tonight, and we'll use Mayo later in the season to catch up.
Oh my God, that's so terrible. I like it though. That was better. Listen,
that was the best one you've had in quite a while. I think that was very good.
Just to wrap all this up here, something that we were talking about them bringing in a veteran bat and bringing in some experience. Do you guys know who the Astros brought in between 2015 and 2017? The year they won the World Series in 2017, they brought in Carlos Beltran, and he was that huge influence. Now, he didn't kill it on the field that year at all. He obviously came up with the idea with the trash cans and whatnot. It was genius, and they figured out how to cheat, and they won the World Series. Fine, whatever. But that leadership that he shared in the clubhouse and brought to them every day, I mean, all those guys said it was invaluable. Now, the Orioles had that If you go back a couple years ago with Aaron Hicks was that guy. Okay. Believe it or not, James McCann was that guy last year. And here's just a little snippet too. If you guys are paying attention right now, obviously the Orioles are going to, if Sanchez, depending on his injury, is out for an extended period of time, Connor mentioned it on Locked On Orioles that McCann's going to have an opt-out clause coming up here. So they might bring back McCann as a possibility. I don't know what the organization feels, but what do you think? I mean, Mike, that we were talking about needing leadership. It's not exactly the greatest on the field, but
I mean, yeah, that's fine. I don't think it's world changing, but I think it's a step in the right direction. I don't think Gary Sanchez has given us very much this year. And if you're going to get leadership and at least equal play that you got from Sanchez, then go ahead and bring that guy in. That's fine.
Yeah, I think McCann, just even with the broken nose and the whole bloody face thing, shows those younger guys that, this is the way you're professional. This is the way to play. This is the way to do things. And, I was kind of disappointed when they didn't re-sign him, but, it is what it is. We try. And, it's very difficult, though, to find a Carlos Beltran, a guy who's a steady defensive outfielder, switch hitter, that sort of thing. But the leadership qualities, the Aaron Hicks brought, was very good for us as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll have to kind of see where we go from here. Again, it's like, depending on when our shows go off here, I mean, we go through a bad win, a great or nice win, a bad loss, great win, bad loss. So hopefully we can string a couple together. Hopefully not 4 in a row, so I don't have to wear a dress on air. But okay, let's talk about the Ravens. So today they made a little bit of news. They picked up the 5th-year option on Kyle Hamilton, and they declined the 5th-year option on Tyler Lindenbaum. Mike, I mean, that's exactly what we expected, right? No surprises there?
No, because Linderbaum's price tag was astronomical because he was lumped in with all the offensive linemen, including offensive tackles. And because he and Hamilton had both made 2 Pro Bowls, it made that price tag so high. Like his was 23 or something, and it was more than Hamilton's. And we know that Hamilton's a much more valuable player than Linderbaum for this team. That being said, I think DaCosta made it clear that he would like to bring both of those guys back long term. I just think he has to play the chess match with the salary cap, which might take a little bit. I think a little bit, maybe they're waiting on a Lamar extension to kind of sort out some of this money and to figure out how it's going to play out with years and when to do somebody's contract. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Lamar extension and then after that, some of the chips fall with maybe Linderbaum and then Hamilton. But I don't see those guys going anywhere.
No, I don't either. And John, I mean, it's Linderbaum, I think, tests out as the top center in the league. If not the top, it's the top 3 for sure. I mean, they're not going to let a guy like that just go away just because they didn't pick up an option. I mean, like Mike said, I think he's in the plans going forward here.
Yeah, you can't let a guy like that walk. And I just think, it's kind of silly how it's all lumped together. For that, I guess that, like Mike said, I think it was 22 and a half or 23 and a half or something, which just, doesn't work. But Linderbaum, you just see how he holds that whole line together with everything that happens and changes and everything, especially, if we're going to have a rookie left guard, having a guy like Linderbaum there in the center, it is very important. And I think he and Lamar have a very good connection and stuff. And I think Linderbaum may be, just as important to the offense in the same way that, not in the same way, but in a similar fashion, the way Hamilton's in the defense, because that center is your guy who's calling out all the blocking assignments. He's the guy who's calling out the blitzes, who's, if Lamar's in the shotgun, and they're in a loud stadium, there's no way they're going to be able to hear Lamar. So that's Linderbaum's job to be calling out, the mic and calling out whatever. So I think that they're both equally as important in different ways.
Oh, no, I would agree with that 100%. I mean, it's essentially the most important spot besides left tackle on the offensive line, mainly because like you have to decide if you're going to snap the ball, or to hold a little longer, whatever the case may be. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. And like you said, especially in loud stadiums. I mean, again, not surprised by any of this. This is exactly what we thought would happen. They're both going to get signed long term. I mean, they are priorities for this organization. What happens is the Andrews contract will come off next year. I mean, because they will probably part ways with him. If or at least that's what I think. I can't speak for you guys, but if they do that, they save a bunch on the cap. Whatever happens with Tucker in June, they save some money against the cap. Lamar extension, Roquan probably. There's a lot of moving and shaking they can do to save money in those different areas. Maybe go ahead and extend Zay Flowers at some point as well. But yeah, I mean, so where do we go from here, Mike? What are the needs still left here for the Ravens? I mean, they addressed a lot in the draft, very impressive as we've talked. But what are still the needs, and what's in that crystal ball of yours I see on your desk?
Oh boy. Hopefully no more wraps. So the
How about a chicken salad wrap, Mike? How about a chicken salad wrap or a crab salad wrap or something?
That's too healthy, John. If you got something with cheesesteak in it, we'll go with that. Figure out kicker, Jason. You mentioned about figuring out the kicker. I think June 1st, like you said, you think the writing's on the wall. I'm so curious to see if that's the way that things fall out. But yes, they got to figure out who their kicker is. That's number one. Second, I think they need to add some depth on the defensive line. I like what they did in the draft with Peebles. I like Mike Green. I like that pick a lot. I still think they could use a veteran interior and maybe even edge guy, whether it's just for a camp battle or maybe just to cycle or rotate those guys a bit. Just some targets that are still available. I couldn't believe some of the names that were still out there, and they're not the same player they were in their prime, but they're still probably Ravens have a track record of signing these guys and doing something with them. But, Matt Judon's still sitting out there. Zardarius Smith, both of those guys have played in purple before. And then if they're looking D tackle, Raekwon Davis from Indy is still a guy in the middle. And Von Miller is still available, honestly, and maybe they cycle through him. I have a couple more, but what do you guys think about the D-line?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, Calais Campbell's a big one that's still out there. I do think that they will make at least
This is a Cardinal. He's in Arizona, isn't he?
Did he sign? He did.
Yeah,
sign?
he's in Arizona. They were talking about it on the draft. Oh, you got your remote stolen. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah. So
Did you just blame this on Cole? That's not very nice of you, John.
Jason, I got like 5 of these. You want me to ship? You want me to drop one off at your house?
No, just mail it. Mail it to my PO box, please, so you don't show up in my house. Squirt you with a voice. Okay, back to what I'm saying. Before the Calais Campbell thing. Yeah, so he was on my list of guys that I thought they would bring in. However, I do think that they are going to give, since they did give him an extension a couple years ago, Broderick Washington, the onus really falls on him. So I think them not drafting another guy was clear to me that they're going to really rely on him and then bring someone else in. I think just as a depth piece for sure on that line. But yeah, Mike, that would be my thought process there. And as far as like edge, they might have to bring somebody in. I'll take any of those guys. Probably Za'Darius. I mean, he seems to be the freshest out of the group, but I
think any of those guys on a rotation, right, Jason?
Right.
Are so more effective than just being a starter, right?
Well, speaking of that, so Clowney's still out, is still under contract, but I heard he could be like a June 1st cut potentially. So if that happens, that would be he would go to number 1 for me, I think, just because of the last time he was here. So, but he'd probably also go number 1 for Mike McDaniel. So there's a lot of other possibilities too. What else you got, Mike?
So the next one I'm looking at is, I know that they addressed guard in the draft, but a veteran guard isn't outside the realm of possibility, I think, especially if they get to camp or mini camp and they see that maybe these guys aren't quite ready. There are some big names out there. I'm not sure we can afford a big name. Like Scherf, I think, is still available, but I think he's going to cost too much. But Shaq Mason and David Andrews, who was a Patriots center for a while, what if we signed him and slid him from center to guard and used him on the O-line? Any thoughts there?
John, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I think something like that would work. I would like to see a veteran interior lineman, kind of an insurance on Linderbaum, or a sort of a guy who could kind of replace McCary. I know we solved that problem a little bit in the draft, but I still don't think we have somebody if Linderbaum goes down who can, fill that center spot currently at the time. I know they talked about Ben Cleveland doing that. I think Kevin talked about that this morning on Locked on Ravens. But I think that's their major thing. But I don't know, Jason, you were really high on Asante Samuel Jr. Do you see the Ravens as I look through this list, I just quickly glanced at like the top 10 left. There's a couple wide receivers. Let's see, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, and then like J.K. Dobbins is left, Justin Simmons, safety from the Justin Simmons and Julian Blackman, Asante Samuel Jr., Kazir White, Zadarius Smith, and then Razul Douglas. But you were high on him, Jason. Any chance that we try to bring in a guy like Asante Samuel if he's still sitting around in June, July as a camp body and see what happens?
So I don't think it would be Asante Samuel because he's going to require. Mike and I talked about this. I think you weren't on that time.
I was waiting for the Coast Guard. That was
Right,
that was the problem.
That's right. Yeah.
You send me back out there on another boat.
So yeah, Asante Samuel is going to be very expensive probably because of his age, and I'm not sure that they're willing to do that for a guy that wouldn't be guaranteed like a starting spot right away. But I do think that they possibly look at somebody. Didn't they sign somebody? Who did we sign?
Awuzie from Tennessee,
right.
but I think with Asante Samuel, John, he's more of a zone coverage kind of guy, and I mean I don't know if he's pigeonholed into that or not. I'm not sure how good he is. I didn't watch him enough in LA to know, but there's Mike Hilton still out there, right? We talked about maybe having a nickel. I think that might be more of a Ravens move than maybe an Asante Samuel, just to kind of be a little more specialized in certain situations. But yeah, maybe a secondary player and maybe an inside linebacker. Like I know that they drafted Teddy Buchanan from Cal. He's really only had one great year in college. I know, at the highest level of college football. But I don't see any reason for them not to get a veteran linebacker in there in case somebody goes down. They lost Chris Board. They lost Malik Harrison. I feel like they need a depth piece there. Kazir White, you mentioned, John, might be an option there. CJ Mosley still available. I don't know if that's something they explore because he could probably play like if Roquan gets hurt. He's not the fast cover guy anymore. He can't do those things anymore. But as a depth piece, I don't know how expensive he's going to be in to put in purple and black, but possibilities.
Well, one thing I was thinking too, that just also real quick before I make my point, the Ravens are very high on TJ Tampa, and he's already in the fold. So that might be another reason, John, why they may not go aggressive on the corner end. They might pick someone up. To me, I think they might have solved that and then have Tampa in mind. But no one. So if you guys remember, we acquired Deontay Johnson because we thought we needed help on the receiver end. There's a couple receivers out there that seem pretty interesting to me. I don't know if they want to shell out all the money for an Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen, but both those guys would be at the top of my list as far as somebody that would give you more production than what you got out of Deontay Johnson for sure. But I don't know if they're satisfied with where they're at now, or if that is something, Mike, that they want to roll the dice on.
I mean, if they're going all in for this year, why not? I mean, if they're out there and available and their price tag is reasonable, if they're going to want a 1-year deal for $4 or $5 million and you have it, do it. And, you never know what's going to happen throughout the course of a season. Nelson Aguilar is still available. Maybe if you want to go cheaper route, you go there. Or Tyler Boyd is out there. He killed the Ravens in that one game. But I don't know if we can overcome that deep, deep, dark part of our brains and get him on the team. But, those are options too. I think when you're in the situation where it's pretty much Super Bowl or bust, which I feel like the Ravens are basically there, there's no reason not to shore up any loose end that you could just to make this team as sound as possible going into the season.
Yeah, I mean that's really what I was thinking. I mean, I was trying. John made a good point with the cornerbacks because that was another position that they needed to address halfway through the season last year. The same with the cornerback or the receivers. So whenever that comes up, I try to go back to that. But I do think that the cornerback might already be taken care of. But inside linebacker, Mike, that's very intriguing as well. I did hear, I think it was Kevin was talking about how Mosley wouldn't fit into this type of defense with his style and what they require. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's still very early. I mean, we do have those June 1st cuts that could free up a lot of stuff. But no, is there anything else you wanted to add, Mike, John?
Well, I was gonna say there's two things. One is Brandon Scherf was a guard from Jacksonville. He signed a big deal. Then he didn't perform, but he wasn't all pro, and he's
John, do you even listen when I speak?
I didn't hear what you said, Mike. I'm sorry. You cut out.
Yeah.
You said that. Oh, sorry.
When you get to be a real older dad, you start realizing that you have to listen to the people because
yeah,
it's really important.
So then the other thing is that Rashad Bateman deal last year is sure looking pretty good for the Ravens. Because, if we would have, after the year he had last year, if we had to shell out the money that he's worth now, we would be looking for a receiver, another two receivers, to try to cover that up. So that was a big DeCosta, big Ravens move there last offseason to sign him. I think, was it 2 years, 18, 20 million, something like that? Not a ton of money.
Yeah. Yep. It was a paperwork screw up that he didn't file quick enough, or apparently for his the proper paperwork for his rookie contract, and it ended up making him in the situation he's in now. So, oh well. I don't know what to say.
Well, he played well last year. Hopefully he can stay healthy and continue to play. Otherwise, one of those Cooper, the Amari Cooper or the Keenan Allen are available.
Yeah, John. And I mean, if you think about the receivers that we ran out there in Buffalo, last January, February, like it was, they were some no-name guys that were playing. Anthony Miller, I think, was out there, and you can never plan enough for those things to happen within the course of a season. And the Ravens were pretty lucky actually last year to play very healthy for the most part. And you just never know when that injury bug's going to bite.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, I mean, right now is the time to try to plan the best you can for it. But I mean, if you remember, there's how many times did we think that the cornerback group was in great shape, and then all of a sudden you turn around and everyone's gone down. Like it's bound to happen at some position. So I mean, the more they can load up now, the better, just to shore up these different things.
And I'm sure it's a fine line for Eric, right? Because they have to save some money just in case, and they have to have some money to sign, players, and they have to have, a little bit of a cushion. So yeah, you want to sign all these guys while they're still available, but you also want to have a contingency plan and money down the road for anything you might need.
Yeah, and they like to save money for the trade deadline in case they decide that they need something at that point as well. So again, we'll see where we're at come June 1st, whatnot, what other potential moves. But yeah, I mean, right now they're in good shape. They had a good draft, like we said, and it's just we'll keep tracking what's next. Mike, did you have a segment you wanted to share with everyone?
Well, I had a couple of thoughts. The first one was I sent to you guys a list of rookies. Did you guys get that one?
I did.
Awesome. So I sent out a list of rookies that are, and you've seen these maybe on Facebook or on social media, where they cost a certain amount of money, right? So there's a QB tier, there's a wide receiver, there's 2 wide receiver tiers, a running back tier, and a tight end tier. And so there's a $5, $4, $3, $2, $1 option based on, I guess, who somebody decided was the best versus not quite as good and worth that much. But you have $15 fictitious pesos to spend on your ideal lineup out of those players. And the way I built it, and I don't know about you gentlemen, as you were thinking about it, I was thinking career-wise, like who would be the best players if we look back 10 years from now. Some of you might be, you could have done it, obviously, who's going to have the best next year. But a lot of these players are on teams that might not right away achieve next season. So you have to choose one player from each of the 5 tiers, but you cannot exceed the $15 limit. So
good.
do any of you have would like to go first? I'm just going to run through the tiers, and then I want to have you guys tell me the 5 that you would choose. So the first quarterback grouping, Cam Ward is $5, Shador Sanders $4, Jackson Dart $3, Jalen Milroe $2, and Tyler Show $1. Let's go QBs. Where would you guys head with that? And now keep in mind you have a budget, so you can't always go $5, $5, $5, $5.
Yeah, I would go with Jalen Milroe. I think he's $2, and they're not expecting anything of him today. They can sit there behind what Darnold signed a 3-year contract, I think, with the 3 years, $100 million. So I think they can have him sit there for a couple of years and learn and develop as a passer, develop the NFL skills. So I'm going to go with the $2 there with the Jalen Milroe.
I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm going to agree with John. Man. Oh.
Well, that makes 2 of us because I actually went the same direction as you gentlemen. I thought Jalen Milroe for $2 is a pretty decent value considering this quarterback class was not super exciting. And if I'm going to spend money, I'm going to spend it on a better position. And I don't know how you guys thought about that, but that was my thought. So that moves us to wide receiver. There are 2 wide receiver tiers. The first one has the following options: $5 for Travis Hunter, $4 for Matthew Golden, $3 for Jaden Higgins, $2 for Trey Harris, or $1 for Kyle Williams. Let's start with Jason for this one. Jason, where did you choose from that tier?
So for this tier, I'm going $2 on Trey Harris. I think he is very, very underrated and is going to make a lot of fantasy players very, very happy if they take him. Not just this year, I should say dynasty fantasy players.
And remind the folks where Trey's playing.
Oh, gosh. That's a good question. I actually don't even care. I was taking him on talent alone.
Just because he's talented.
Right. Well, he's a wide receiver.
Chargers.
So he actually, I mean, he's with his skill set, like compared to McConkey is like the prototypical number 2 wide receiver that you want, right? He's that possession guy. It reminds me of Cooper Kupp, of Robert Woods in LA. So you bring in Harris, and he's the I don't want to. I was going to say the man. Like he'll be the guy that is going to manhandle players. Like that's your number 1 potential wide receiver, and they got him later. Was he a 2nd rounder, 3rd rounder? I mean, to me, that was he's going to get a lot of attention out there, and especially again being the number 2 right away with the potential of being a number 1 in San Diego. Oh, LA.
John?
I'm going to go with Hunter because I think I think he's probably the most talented overall football player in this draft. And depending on how we're scoring all of this and things, he could be getting you points on both offense and defense, depending on how the Browns use him and who the quarterback is as well. Or excuse me, the Jaguars, how the Jaguars are going to use him, and what they do with Lawrence, and how long you're expecting this to go on for. If they're going to hang on to Lawrence for a year, or if they're going to try to do something else. But I still think he's a pretty good value there at $5.
What about you, Mike?
I went with an opportunity pick here where I think Kyle Williams is going to get some playing time in New England. And so I took the dollar meal menu there and went Kyle Williams. He's a quick guy. He can get open in space. He can find holes in zone defenses. I think Drake May is going to use him as a security blanket. Stephon Diggs should get some targets, but he's not the same Stephon Diggs that played in Minnesota or Buffalo. So as Kyle Williams as the young guy, I think emerges maybe there in New England, that could be a value pick. I'm going to save my big money for later on. So the third tier is another wide receiver tier. $5 for Tet McMillan, 4 for Emeka Egbuka, 3 for Luther Burden the third, 2 for Jalen Noel, and $1 for Jack Beck. John, your turn to start. Where would you go with the value there in that receiver tier?
I think I'm going to go with Noel. I think that playing in Houston with CJ Stroud, I think, and that offense, I think is going to get him opportunities. I think he's going to, a lot of your wide receivers, it's a matter of who your quarterback is, what team you get drafted on, and how they run their offense. And I think, in watching the Texans as we've played them several times in the last couple of years, and the way that they're going, the way they run their offense, the way that CJ Stroud, picks defenses apart, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for him down there in Houston.
Yeah, I like that pick, John. That's not bad. And CJ doesn't seem to discriminate. He just kind of spreads the ball to whoever's open. There's been a bunch of receivers that have floated in and out of there over the course of a couple of years, and they've all gotten a decent number of targets and produced. So that's a pretty good pick. I'm going to actually go with Emeka Egbuka. He's the Ohio State wide receiver that was drafted by Tampa Bay. I think he's probably the heir apparent to, the Mike Evans, Chris Godwin grouping there in Tampa. The only issue there is he probably won't produce immediately. He's probably going to get on the field a little more limited in his first few seasons. But I like that he's just a solid guy. Like, he gets open. He doesn't do anything spectacular, but he does everything well. And he looks like a pro's pro, just a solid guy. He can get open. And he's played in Ohio State, where he's played in big games his entire career. I think the lights won't be too bright for him. And like you said, having a quarterback who can throw the ball, Baker Mayfield has done a solid job down in Tampa. So I think it's a decent pickup. $4 for Emeka Egbuka. Jason?
Oh, man, I'm between two here. And one was Noel, the one that John went with. And I don't know if I can agree with John this many times in one podcast.
I think it's illegal. I think it's in the Geneva Convention or something.
Oh, heavens, man. I'm going to go with Tet McMillan. I think
$5.
Yeah, I mean he's by far the best receiver in the draft, and not only that, Carolina strategically they went out and got their guy. You asked the other day who had good drafts, who we thought, and when I look back on everything, Carolina is the top of my list as well, along with Houston, but Carolina got all their needs met, including this young wide receiver. And I think he's going to be a potential stud for years to come. So I'm going to go with McMillan.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong there. I mean, you trade up to get the guy. You're going to target the guy. He's going to be a primary weapon in Carolina. So that's a good choice. All right. The next tier is running back. I think this is the best tier across the board, all the way across the board. But the way they have it set up is Ashton Genty at $5, Omarion Hampton at $4, Travion Henderson $3, Quinshon Judkins $2, and Caleb Johnson $1. Hard to go wrong here, boys. But Jason, why don't you go first and set the tone with running back?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with the $1. I'm going to go with Caleb Johnson, mainly because he's going to fit that Pittsburgh scheme brilliantly. With Jaylen Warren, he's going to take a back seat to him, but he'll give him that little bit of a third down type thing. But Caleb Johnson, he's a he is a 3-down back. And he can do it. And for Pittsburgh to get him makes me very upset. So I don't know if he's going to be like this superstar, but he's going to be in the league for a while, and he's going to give the Ravens and the rest of the AFC North a big headache. So that's who I'm going to go with.
Yeah, he's a physical runner. The way he runs, he fits that Pittsburgh mentality. So kind of scary to see him in black and gold. John, where are you headed?
I was going with Johnson as well. I had seen a few of his runs and things at Iowa, and the fact that he is kind of a typical Steelers type player. He's young too. He's only 21. He won't be 22 until the start of the season. So, not as much wear and tear on the body as some of these other guys. But, it's very difficult to bet against the Ohio State backs. Both those guys were very good. But I like Caleb Johnson, and he's in a good offense for his skill set in Pittsburgh. So I'm going to go with the $1 there.
I think you can't go wrong there. I think it's a very good value at $1. I'm gonna go all out with this one. I'm gonna take Ashton Genty. I think he's the real deal. I know, Jason, you're not quite as convinced as I am, but and he played at Boise State, so it's kind of hard to tell if he didn't play that kind of SEC caliber competition game in and game out. But I really do think that he has something special. Like, he's a tackle breaker. He's a tackle breaker. He's a generational talent, and I'm going to take my guess that he's going to be the next Hall of Fame running back. So I'm going $5 on Ashton Genty, and I don't have too much more money. But, John, it seems like you have a lot of money left. I mean, you don't have to spend like Rubenstein and Elias here. You can actually spend all $15. It's okay to do that.
Yeah, spending a lot of money on somebody isn't always a great thing. Look, Brock Purdy was the last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant, and they paid him $900,000 to go to the Super Bowl. So, money isn't everything.
All right, last tier of tight ends. Okay, $5 is Tyler Warren from Penn State, Colston Loveland at $4, Mason Taylor $3, Elijah Arroyo $2, and Harold Fannin Jr. $1. I don't remember whose turn it is, so any of you guys who wants to go, feel free.
Why don't you go first this time, Mike? Jason's went first twice. I went first once, and I don't know if you went first.
Well, I happen to have $3 left, so I feel like I'm going to spend all my money, which seems like good ownership. So I'm going to spend my $3 on Mason Taylor. I like his fit. I believe he's in New York with Justin Fields, who needs somebody that he can depend on with that running style offense. I think they're going to try to build his strengths in New York, which means he's going to need that security blanket. I think he's going to have a lot of receptions early on. And he's got, NFL bloodlines. So he's got the genetics working on the side with his dad being Jason Taylor. So I'm going to spend my $3 on Mason Taylor. Jason?
I don't like any of this. It's not that I don't like the players. I'm underwhelmed by all of the landing spots. I'm just not and I have $5 left to spend. So I'm do I just go with Tyler Warren? I mean, and have to deal with that quarterback question mark in Indianapolis, or do I go with Loveland, who's a number 1 or number 2 type option in offense? He's going to be number 6 in Chicago. So it's I don't know what to do. I'll just throw a dart against I'll go with Tyler Warren. I mean, it's fine. I mean, if Richardson's ever going to figure it out, it'll have to be this year. And having Warren, I mean, tight end is one. Let's also not forget, tight end is one of the toughest positions on offense to pick up. You have several responsibilities that you have to take care of that don't even necessarily mean go out and run that route. So to me, it might not happen right away, but I'll just go with the guy that had the highest, coming into the draft. So I'll go with Tyler Warren.
John?
And I'm going to have a little bit of money left, and it just, I don't think there's I don't think there's that big of a gap in any of these tight ends here. I'm going to go with Mason Taylor because I think that, he's going to a team that doesn't have high expectations. They've got a quarterback who is going to rely on having somebody, he's 6'5", 255. Somebody who can jump up, catch the ball, find open space and things, which he's good at. Plus then, he's, like you said, Mike, he's got that pedigree that, he's having problems blocking. He's going to call his dad. Why are the linemen doing this? Why are they doing it? And his dad, I think, is going to be a big help to him in terms of, how to be a pro, how to do these things. And I think he's going to actually perform because, Fields is going to need him to.
Well said, sir. So let's just review, our picks here real quick to wrap up the segment. So for mine, I had quarterback $2, Jalen Milroe, wide receiver Kyle Williams for $1 from New England, wide receiver Igbuka, Tampa Bay, $4, Ashton Genty, running back for Vegas, $5, and Mason Taylor, $3. And I spent all $15. How about you, Jason?
I also spent all $15. I had $2 Jalen Milroe, $2 Trey Harris, $5 Ted McMillan, $1 Caleb Johnson, and $5 Tyler Warren. John?
John?
So I had Milrow for $2, Hunter for $5, Noel for $2, Johnson for $1, and Taylor for $3. So I ended up only spending 13. But I could see going with Ibuka as well. That would then give me the $15 if you were forced to spend.
It's
$15.
too late to do that. You've already made your pick. I'm sorry.
I'm
So-
sticking with my pick, but if I had to equal it out at 15, I would do Ibuka.
I think it'll be interesting a year from now, maybe to take a look and see what we've done here and to see how some of this pans out and then kind of revisit it once we take a look at that. But thanks for playing, boys. I think that was a lot of fun. We'll see how these rookie pups pan out. Maybe which one's going to be rookie of the year. They all got a shot on offensive rookie of the year here. And see
I
what
was
that
going to
looks like.
ask you guys, that was going to be my question because there was some talk about, Starks could be up there defensive rookie of the year. What do you guys think? Do you think there's enough for him to do? Or is he not going to have that big of a role?
I mean, it's potentially. I mean, there's so many. That's such. To me, it's so tough to see what happens there because we don't even know if he's going to start from day one. Like you would assume he is, and he's going to play a lot. But they might ease him into that situation. I mean, the potential is certainly there. I know that as far as Carter, I mean, he's got to be the favorite right away. But again, so many moving parts. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, is it a possibility? Yeah. I mean, you want to throw a couple shekels down on it? Sure. You might hit one.
What about Travis Hunter? I mean, he could win it either direction. So don't forget that guy being out there and just the talent. I know it's probably difficult, but you have to put his name in the conversation. And just the position that Starks plays makes it a little more difficult unless he comes with some insane number of interceptions. A lot more difficult probably to garner votes for that particular award. Where more likely, I would think a pass rusher has the best opportunity maybe to win that award. Not that it has to be, but I think that generally tends to be where people lean.
Well, Mike Green could very well have that opportunity as well. I mean, the Ravens have two guys who I could see, potentially winning the defensive rookie of the year. Could the Ravens have the defensive rookie of the year and the defensive player of the year, like in Kyle Hamilton? Now, I think if that happens, I think we're Super Bowl bound. Something like that happens.
Right. I mean, if you have guys that are up for those awards, I'm always skeptical of whether or not they like to give teams multiple awards in the same position area type stuff like that. Hence the MVP Josh Allen versus Lamar thing. But I mean, John, I mean, you're right. If guys are playing at that type of level, then yeah, for sure, you're going to be a Super Bowl contender. I mean, the way that the Ravens defense played in the second half of the season last year, adding two impressive pieces, collegiate pieces to that, I must add, but by adding those, Mike, I mean, it just gives them a huge lift and hopefully they can keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys had to make an offensive rookie of the year selection, maybe just use the palette of players I gave you to choose from that last activity. What direction would you go? I think I would say Ashton Genty's name maybe be in that conversation. Travis Hunter, who I mentioned, and Jason, maybe Ted McMillan. Where would you guys lean?
That's what I would say. I would say Genty and Hunter. Depending on what Cleveland does, if Shedeur ends up being their starting quarterback, which they don't have one, and if he plays with a chip on his shoulder and he absolutely balls out, you could see somebody like Shedeur Sanders. But I think Genty and Hunter are the leaders right now going into the start of the season.
I think it comes down to Genty and Hampton. And because I think they're the better team, and it was very clear what Jim Harbaugh wanted to do last year. They wanted to run the hell out of the football. They were very lucky to get in the position they were. It was very smart to get that young man. So between him and Genty, I mean, I think it'll come down to those two for the Rookie of the Year.
That's awesome, man. So just we have I think we've covered that pretty well as far as rookies are concerned. Excited to see what's in store for the NFL season with these young players. I know, Jason, last week you started a deal breaker segment that I know Donovan had mentioned, and I happened to be perusing the internet and I saw a pretty interesting deal breaker scenario. You guys mind if I pose it to you guys this evening?
The interweb, you say?
Yeah, the Google machine.
Fabulous.
So here's the situation. You can have $1 million, or you have to play against prime Tiger Woods for 72 holes. If you beat him on a single hole, you win $100 million. If you don't, you go to jail for 1 year.
Oh, I'll take the $1 million. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Prime Tiger Woods? I couldn't beat him right now with his torn Achilles.
Just one hole, Jason.
I couldn't. I'm telling you, I can't. What a mess. Oh, man.
I might have to go. I might have to go for it. I might have to go for that one. Just try. I probably, the odds are I lose at least 71, but if I could win one, that would be so awesome.
Mike, you won't do well in prison. You're too pretty. It won't go well. Don't do it. Don't do it, Mike.
What about you, John?
You definitely won't do well in prison, John. Don't do it.
No, I am not a good golfer at all. I would almost say potentially on a par 3 with the opportunity to get an ace, but I'm like this Keon Coleman who called himself Tiger Wish He Could. I sent you guys. I don't know if you guys had seen that before, but I'm not Tiger Woods. I'm Tiger Wish He Could. That's me.
I mean, I'd be willing to take the see, but look, even if you didn't go to jail, right? Say you take that out of it, but there's still another penalty. You're still passing on $1 million. Now, granted, $1 million isn't like the end all be all, but
100 times that. If you can win one hole, one par 3, maybe 80 yards, and you just hit one this far and he misses his birdie putt from here, you are $100 million richer. But I don't like the jail part. You're right about that. That's got to play into it.
Maybe a left-handed, Tiger Woods, but he still may beat me. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good one though. Holy crap! But no, I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. I don't want to go to jail.
No,
so I'm good. Oh my goodness. Okay,
because then you can't take our shekels from jail.
Right. Well, I haven't seen the fruits of those labors yet. All right.
No.
Speaking of fruits of those labors,
I got to sell some cars so that I can actually pay you, Jason.
$10, Sean. You have to sell a car to pay me tax. Great.
Yes. Yes, sir. That's what my wife says. You have to sell a car before you can pay Jason.
Great. All right.
Take it up with her.
So, speaking of fruits of that labor, Buzz Williams has been busy still, and he completed his down there in College Park. He filled up his coaching staff, and they are very busy. They hit the recruiting road, and the Terps just added the last 5-star recruit for the 2025 season, Darius Adams out of Indiana. He was the number 23 overall player coming out. He's a McDonald's All-American, and he did previously commit to UConn. He's also the number 3 player from Indiana and the number 4 combo guard overall. The last McDonald's All-American, Mike, that we just got drafted or is about to get drafted in the NBA draft here. I'm all for it, man. A good start.
Sounds like a game changer, right? Like I don't know the player, obviously. I'm not that familiar with the college basketball recruiting trail, but to have a top 25 prospect, if you think about how many programs in the country have a top 25 college prospect, I assume that the top programs might have two, so maybe 15 programs in the country that have one of those top 25 guys. Well done, Buzz Williams, hitting the road right away. We thought for sure it would take a few seasons to kind of build, but on the trajectory to maybe be competitive here next season.
Yeah. And it looked like, John, from everything I read, is he was ready to sign, or he'd already signed his letter of commitment with UConn. And then Dan Hurley went and got 2 more guards from the transfer portal. And I guess he got a little scared that he wouldn't play as much, or he'd be overshadowed. So he re-entered into the as his eligibility, and he got picked up by Buzz. So to me, it was a great move, John. I mean, anything you could expect so far, Buzz has done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. From literally not having a coaching staff, not having a roster, you're gonna have to go check out the pickup games and the intramural games to fill a team out. I'm looking at these names, and he's doing, I think, the things that need to be done in order to fill this team out and to make them competitive. And sometimes it just takes pure dumb luck, which which kind of seems like UConn made that move with a couple guards, and then Adams picked the Terps over Michigan State and Tennessee. But I'm very impressed. I think what did you say last time, Jason, that they were already ranked like in a preseason thing, they're 25th or 30th or something, or they were going to be the 30th team in the tournament or something like that?
I don't know about that. I know that they were top. I think they're the number 6 team in the transfer portal so far, as far as what they brought in. I didn't see anything as far as what next year was going to bring, as far as any rankings. I will tell you, this team went from it being a complete rebuild, is what we thought, Mike, to having some thoughts now of potential postseason for next year.
Yeah, I think that we can maybe expect at least a 500 season, or at least shooting for a 500 season or better in the Big Ten. I guess that's where my expectation would be based on what they've done, right? I don't know that they should be thrust into the conversation of top 5 teams maybe in the Big Ten. But to me, to be middle of the pack in your first year would be an excellent achievement, and maybe warrant a look at the NCAA tournament, if not maybe the NIT. But if you play 500 ball in the Big Ten and it's a good year for the Big Ten, you have a chance, obviously, to make the tournament. So that would be excellent. I'm more excited to see what happens in College Park with Buzz there. How they love their new head coaches. They had the Turgeonites. Are we going to have the Hive, and we're going to have some guys with like some red and white stripes and dressed up as bees coming out there ready to take care of business? I just want to see what's going to happen down in College Park, because they like to get excited about their head coach.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it'll be something else. And I don't think he's done. There still is another McDonald's All-American player out there, a decommit that is available. I don't know if they're in on him or not, or what the situation is, or they might be done as far as that goes. But there are still guys in the transfer portal as well. So, we'll have to wait and see, but all signs pointing upward for the Terps. Don, did you want to?
If there was a Burger King All-American or Chick-fil-A All-American, or just a fast food in general All-American, I think I might be in consideration, because I really enjoy those places. I don't know how McDonald's, I guess it's just a sponsorship, but I don't know. I love all those fast food establishments.
Taco Bell, and you'd fill the bus. You'd fill the bus in the airplane home with gas.
Oh my God!
No, but I was going to say this though. The concern I have though is that Maryland doesn't have a big man. that I'm hoping they're going to get, because their biggest player is a Payne, and he's only 6'9". So they got a bunch of guys between 6'3" and 6'8", but nobody over 6'9". So we had talked about this a few weeks ago. There's a guy from Southern Indiana. I think he's from Australia or something. He's over 7 foot. A couple other guys in the transfer. So I think Buzz is going to have to get somebody who's, at least a presence in the paint, because we currently don't have one, a rim protector of sorts.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point, John. I mean, that will be something that they'll have to upgrade, and I'm sure that is on their list of things to do there as far as players to bring in. But yeah, I mean, Terps looking good, man. So far, so good. I mean, we could, again, started off by saying we couldn't ask for anything more, and I think that's where we're at. So, well, that's all I got for the Terps. Do you guys want to do Blast for the Blast?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Last time we stumped the Schwab all the way.
I thought I got 2 last time. No.
Yeah, but I had to give you the Stephen Hawking clue. This one should be easy for you, Jason.
God, I hate when you say that. Okay, so we're going to do Blast from the Past, which is a little trivia game that we do amongst the 3 of us, where we try to trick each other into coming up with former Oriole players that we forgot might have played for the team, may or may not have had an impact on that team for a specific year or so. So who wants to go first?
John? Mike, why don't you go first this time? I've gone first almost every time as I've listened back.
That's because you get so excited and you just start talking about things. I have this player was drafted by the Oakland A's in the 15th round of the 1996 amateur draft from the great state of Oregon. He has played for the following Major League Baseball clubs: Anaheim, LA, also the same exact team, Florida, Chicago Cubs, Toronto, Orioles, Cubs again, Marlins, and Reds. How we doing? We got it yet?
Who was he drafted by?
The A's?
He was drafted by the A's, but made his major league debut at the age of 25 with the Angels.
In what year?
2003. So he had 2 separate stints with the Cubs, including a 33 save season in 2009.
Oh, you didn't tell us he was a pitcher until just now.
Yep. Strategic.
Yep.
He led the National League in games finished in 2010 while with the Blue Jays. Was known for
they're in the American League, Mike.
Yeah, in 2010 they were. That's where he pitched.
You just said the National.
I'm sorry. Sorry, my bad.
Okay, that's why I was confused.
You are correct. Okay. My fault. He was known for his high walk rate, but still managed multiple seasons with 20-plus saves. He never pitched in an all-star game, but had over 700 innings pitched out of the bullpen mostly in his career.
I think I know who it is.
I have one more that would completely probably give it to you.
Here, I'll guess before you give it to me, and then you can leave it up to John. Is it Kevin Gregg?
It is. It is Kevin Gregg. What is he infamous for was the David Ortiz altercation in 2011. Yeah. But for the Orioles, he played in 2011 and 2012, pitched to a 4.37 ERA in 2011 and a 4.95 in 2012. He walked a lot of guys.
He did. So do you guys remember last week when John was given the clue, or maybe it was you, Mike, and I asked if the player wore glasses? Because he wore the glasses goggles. That was going to be my guess last week.
Oh, yeah.
That was me. No. That was I don't remember who it was.
All right. Troy Hawkins. Let's see.
Yeah, the Troy Hawkins. Yeah. Okay. So I'll go next. This guy pitched for the Braves, Phillies, Indians, Rangers, Orioles, Rockies, and Mariners. He was drafted in the 11th round of the 93 amateur draft. After 4 years in the minors, he made his debut with the Braves July 14th, 1997. He threw a no-hitter. Actually, he threw 2 no-hitters. One April 27th, 2003 with the Phillies, and then a combined no-hitter June 8th, 2012 with the Mariners. He posted a career high 18 wins in 1999 and 2002. He finished third in the National League Cy Young Award voting, losing to Randy Johnson, and 26th in the MVP voting. He was an All-Star in 1999. He also led
which team in 1999?
1999 would have been the Braves. He played for the Orioles in 2010. He led the major leagues with 41 stolen bases allowed in 2010.
I know who it is. It's Kevin Millwood.
Yes.
I would have said that like 10 minutes ago, but I was waiting for you to get to some more Oriole related things. I actually had that. I had that.
There was nothing.
Hold on, Jason.
He went 4-16 with a 5.10 ERA for the Orioles. He was worthless for the Orioles. I was trying to like make this guy like sound like he was actually a good player.
He was for a while.
Well, for the Braves. Well, when you're after Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox, you're going to be a good player.
All right.
I have no recollection of him in Seattle, but I believe you.
Neither do I.
He signed into a minor league contract. He made one major league start April 22nd, and he played until the end of that season. Then he ended up on the disabled list, and then he retired.
So he had one start with Seattle, is what you're saying?
No. He had one season with Seattle.
Oh, okay.
All right.
He's the 67th pitcher to record 2,000 career strikeouts. That's pretty good.
All right. So my feller played in the major leagues for 12 seasons. Starting in 1987 with the Oakland A's. He also played for the New York Yankees, the California Angels, the New York Yankees again, the Atlanta Braves, the Baltimore Orioles, the Atlanta Braves again, the Detroit Tigers, and then finished his career in 2000 at the age of 36 with the New York Yankees. This guy, he's a left fielder, and he played for the Orioles in 1996. He played only 58 games that season with the Orioles. Now, I will tell you, let's see, hitting-wise, he had over 1,400 base hits, and stolen base-wise, which he's much more known for, he had 321 stolen bases, including a season where he had 48 stolen bases, 51 and 55 with the California Angels. One other thing he was known for, I don't know if you guys remember this at all. He brought and I was there because I just got into the stadium early for whatever reason. John, stop it!
Stop it with the pen,
dude.
I don't hear that in my thing.
Sorry, everyone. But he brought an aluminum bat to batting practice, and him and Bobby Bonilla were hitting bombs with it, and it just was like ping, ping, ping with it with batting practice. It was the craziest thing to see and hear.
What? Tell me the teams one more time, Jason.
Oh, there's a lot of them, Mike. He started.
Yeah, but now that I know he's a stolen base guy, I'm going to try to think better.
Okay, so the A's, the Yankees, the Angels, the Yankees again, the Atlanta Braves, the Orioles in 1996, and then he finished the year with the Braves in 1996. And then the Tigers, and then the Yankees again in 2000.
Oh, shoot. Was it Marquis? No.
Oh my gosh, you just named another guy that was never an Oriole.
No, he's not an Orioles.
He also only hit 36 career home runs, just in case you guys are wondering.
He was not a power hitter.
He's a stolen base man.
Yeah, he stole 321. He got caught stealing 145.
Not a very good percentage.
He is a career. Oh, it's a career 293 but hitter though.
Wow.
And he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Oh God, no.
Okay. I'm running through
Never made-
numbers.
He never made an All-Star game. He never won a Gold Glove.
So he was a base stealer for the 96 Orioles. He played left field, is what you're saying.
But he only played 55 games for the Orioles, and then he went back to the Braves.
He did, and he had 8 stolen bases for the Orioles. And he only batted 240 for the Orioles. Wait, that's not right. Yes, it is.
It's not.
No,
I don't
it's
think he
definitely
played
not
for the Orioles. It wasn't
No,
Otis Nixon. No, I don't know.
No, not
no,
it.
Otis Nixon played for the Indians.
For the Braves too.
Braves.
Yeah, Braves and Indians. That's why the Braves thing was getting me with Marquise Grissom, but he didn't play for the Orioles.
I'm running out of clues here, fellas.
We might have to go with rhymes with.
Yeah. A similar name to who?
I'll give you his first name, Luis. Come on, Uncle Luis.
Castillo, Gonzalez, Martinez,
All right,
Sanchez.
John, again, timeout, please. No more speaking.
I don't know.
All right, it's Luis Polonia.
Yeah, we never got that.
I remember the name, but I don't remember him playing for the Orioles.
Really? Yeah, 96.
No.
They picked him up, obviously, for that playoff push. He was in there.
Not an impact player,
No.
particularly.
They
No.
got rid of him and then had to bring in Zeal and Incavilla.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was surprised looking him up earlier. I was like, holy crap, this many stolen
That's
bases.
not a bad career. That's not a bad baseball career.
It's like an 80s and 90s baseball career. Where it's like I was listening tonight where Kevin Brown said like Paul Goldschmidt's like potential Hall of Famer. And I'm like, not on standards of yesteryear. Maybe now, sure.
Right.
But he's got like 370 home runs or something. I don't know. To me, it's
Well, I was talking to my friend who pitched in the big leagues about this. He was pitching the big leagues for 6 years.
yeah,
And he's
you
like,
are the craziest name dropper I've ever met in my
the
entire life.
the guys way back all made the 10 years. And he's like, and we were talking about like how like you guys just mentioned how the stats and things have changed because the guys' careers are not as long. Because the guys are not playing as long. And like he had, what did you say, Jason? He broke into the league in 87 and was in the league till 2000.
12 seasons.
12 seasons. And he hit, and he wasn't like an all amazing player. He just kind of ran the bases. But he just, stayed in the league for a long time.
I had a friend in kindergarten who used to pick his nose, and I ended up seeing him at a baseball game once. So,
Oh, wow.
I mean, yeah.
All right.
I think it's time to end this.
Yeah, I've had enough.
Let's
Hey,
go ahead, John.
At least I haven't spelled anything wrong since the last time. That was pretty good.
All right,
That's the
man.
great thing about speaking and not writing is that you don't have to spell the words you're saying. So,
Exactly.
thank goodness. All right, so let's wrap this puppy up. That's going to do it for this episode of Dad Bod's Crab Cakes and Sports. Thank you for hanging out with us this evening. Don't forget to please subscribe on Red Circle, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. While you're at it, please leave us a review. It really helps us out. We're trying to spread the good word about Baltimore sports far and wide. Be sure to follow us on social media for more behind-the-scenes action, memes, maybe a rap or two, and some bad sports takes. You can find us at dadbods_crabcakes_sports on Instagram and dadbods crab cakes and sports on our Facebook page. Have a question or topic you want us to cover? Hit us up at dadbodscrabcakesandsports@gmail.com. You never know, we might just shout you out on our next episode. Until next time, keep rocking those dad bods, eating those crab cakes, and never miss the game.
Have a good evening,
Sayonara.
everybody.